So I found myself endlessly in opposition with archaeologists because I feel I need to point up their failures and their mistakes and to help the public to understand that we're not dealing with the word of God here. We're dealing with the word of fragile human beings who have their own egos and their own careers to pursue and who may pursue mistaken lies. And unfortunately, these are the people who we've entrusted with interpreting our past to us. And if they've got our past wrong, then it's only us through our own actions who are going to perhaps put it right. And that's one of the things that I've done in this new book, which is called America Before.
Not yet, Graham.
No,
that wasn't natural enough.
No, it is natural. I'm going to say why.
No, it felt forced.
Well, I'll tell you why, Russell. Because I've taken a lot of stick for this.
Your wife and daughter are chuckling.
I've taken a lot of stick for this in particular, which is called the Clovis First Model. The Clovis First Model is a model of the peopling of the Americas. And it is a notion which has been taught in schools. It's based on archaeology, and it's been taught to every American and indeed to people all around the world.
There was a bridge made out of ice, and they crossed over the ice bridge, and then the bridge has gone now because it got too hot. And that's how they got there. They've only been there 13,000 years.
You've saved me a huge amount of talking.
They popped over the ice bridge. There's nothing else to worry about. Next!
Well, exactly. That's it. And basically, people were taught that there had been no human beings in America before 13,000 years ago, because there was a particular combination of lowered sea levels and an opening up of a ice-free corridor in the North American ice cap that allowed people to pour through into the Americas then.
Ice bridge.
There's the ice bridge, which is Beringia, but then you cross... Beringia is now the Bering Straits. Beringia connected at one time Siberia to Alaska. It was above water. It was an ice bridge. Sea level was 400 feet lower then than it is today. Okay, and it was an ice bridge. But then when you cross that ice bridge, what did you find? You found yourself confronting the North American ice cap, which is 2 miles deep. A mountain of ice 2 miles deep blocks your path. You're stuck in this bit of land between Siberia and Alaska. You can't go further. But then around 13,000 years ago, because of global warming, a corridor opens up in the middle of the North American ice cap that allowed people to trickle through it into the resource-rich Great Plains of North America. And for more than 60 years, it was the position of archaeology that the first human beings to enter the Americas were those humans who came across the Bering Land Bridge 13,000 years ago, found that ice-free corridor, and entered the Americas. Because of that position, it was impossible to consider that it was not even worth thinking about America in the role of the origins of human civilization. Why should the Americas have had anything to do with the origins of human civilization if human beings had only been in the Americas for 13,000 years, whereas they'd been in Europe for 60,000 or 70,000 years? And by the way, recently there's just been a new piece of news the last couple of days. Anatomically modern human remains in Europe dating close to 200,000 years ago have been found. And they'd been in Asia for 60 or 70,000 years, Australia for at least as long, but in America for only 13,000 years. So why would we look for the origins of civilization in America? And thus a whole avenue of inquiry concerning this vast landmass of the Americas was just cut off by archaeological dogma. And this has happened more often than it should in the world of archaeology, where fixed ideas have been held in place by powerful intellects, by powerful figures in the field, figures who have the power to withdraw funding from other figures. So archaeologists who opposed Clovis first, who did have evidence of earlier peopling of the Americas, had great difficulties with their careers. They were unable to get research funding. They were humiliated at conferences. They were publicly mocked. They were accused of making up their evidence and their information. And naturally, in that climate, as an archaeologist, you're not very keen to break the existing model. It's better to work within it, refine it, file things away, and have no arguments.
So why is the thinking shifted?
Thinking shifted because the new evidence has become overwhelming, and this is how it is with every paradigm shift. It doesn't happen because some brilliant guy says, "Oh, things are different." It happens because little by little, drip by drip, new evidence keeps coming in that can't be explained by the existing paradigm, and at a certain point, it becomes clinically insane to go on defending the existing paradigm, when the evidence that contradicts it is so overwhelming that it can't any longer be ignored, and those who are presenting the evidence can't be diminished by accusing them of being pseudoscientists or fabricating their evidence or fantasists. You know, that's the typical kind of ad hominem attack that has been applied to archaeologists who've challenged the existing model. And there I can give you several names of individuals who did that and who paid the price for doing so.
It makes you angry, does it?
Yeah, it does. It does make me angry, because we're trusting these people with our past, and they are presenting themselves to us as this pure and unsullied body of entirely objective scientists who simply can't make mistakes. If you say to an archaeologist, you present yourself to me this way, they'll deny it. But in terms of the general public, the Clovis first went essentially unquestioned for 60 years, and it was completely wrong. I mean, I am constantly accused of being a pseudoscientist by archaeologists. If you go to my Wikipedia page, you'll find almost the very first word about Graham Hancock is that he's a pseudoscientist. I can't think of anything more pseudoscientific than the Clovis first model, which was based on an incredibly limited data set. Huge conclusions were based on a very limited data set, and anything that contradicted that data set was rejected. That is pseudoscience for me.
Do you think, as I do, that we are entering a time where people in general, but there's a certain bifurcation occurring where there are people that are open to other possibilities, that are willing to reject mainstream models and modalities? It seems to me that there are certain people that are of a conservative mindset. This conservatism seems present not only in archaeology but in most disciplines.
Yeah.
They become doctrinaire sort of as a necessary way of preserving themselves and their importance. But it feels to me that where you've started from, Graham, is a sense that there's magic as in the sense of power that we don't understand yet, uninvestigated all around us, different possibilities, a certain beauty, and that you're very passionate about that. And it hurts you that it's something that people are closed-minded about.
Thank you for seeing it that way. Yes, I guess that's true. I do feel passionate about it. What I feel particularly passionate about is the lack of dialogue that there is around serious issues in our society. And it's either one way or another. You either take one point of view or you take the other point of view, and we end up constantly with this duality and opposition. And I find myself being forced into that duality and opposition because if archaeologists and their friends in the media, every time they refer to me, insult me and say that I'm a fraud and a liar and I make stuff up and I'm a pseudoscientist, naturally I'm a human being. I react. It makes me want to point out their failings and their weaknesses as well. What I'd much prefer would be to have some kind of open and easy dialogue where it's not even couched as a debate which one side must win and one side must lose, but where it's couched as a discussion about the past. Let's open our minds to other possibilities about the past, just as we should also open our minds to other possibilities about the present. This schism that you're describing is not only in scientific disciplines, it's across society as a whole. People get locked into very rigid positions and they confuse their position with reality and with fact, and it isn't. It's a position, it's a choice that everybody's making.
People are not very comfortable with the mystery, I think, because it's in a sense when you unravel from the position of that there is a mystery within each of us, that we don't really know ourselves, we don't understand the automatic procedures that are continually occurring, we don't understand our own identity, how unthinkingly we commit to a persona without knowing its provenance. I feel that as you embrace the mystery or become willing to investigate the mystery, one of a corollary to that is a kind of willingness to step outside of all frameworks, in a sense. Thanks for watching this podcast and going all the way to the end of it. Would you so kind as to click the bell, might not be there, could be over there, and subscribing so that we can infiltrate your serenity and peace of mind with jangling bells and buzzes. Thank you.